tell me about the bullying issue at Cherokee? Because I've reached out to you a couple of times over the years, and every time I've ever reached out to you, you've stopped it immediately. How is it? Supposedly it happened that way.
It did not.
Okay, thank you.
We investigated it. There were several claims brought forward by the family. We investigated that, and I issued findings 2 days ago to them. They will have the family rep address the board this evening, and Chairman Christian will allow that one person, Angela Hubert, to speak on behalf of the family. Given the circumstances and the timing, she was not able to comply with the board policy to become a speaker for this evening. So he's going to suspend the rules for her to speak tonight. But the claims that we investigated did not match the claims. There was no formal reports, no reports made.
Because like I said, I've reached out to you a couple of times, and every time I have, you've addressed it immediately.
What I will tell you is that if there's anything on the radar of our site admin, it's that they need to be Johnny on the spot with any claims of that type of stuff going on, whether it's on the bus, in the classroom, school site, whatever the case is. Sports teams, they take that very seriously, and especially if there's any resulting actions on the victims stand part of potential self-harm, retaliation, depression, any of that stuff, then there's a separate protocol that they go into to help protect that student. Very, very much so. That's the worst news you can get working in the schools, is that we lost one.
And I understand that there was a girl from Rogersville, but I think she went to Hamlet, Marshtown, one of the Marshtown schools.
Yeah, the day after. Anyway.
So are you telling us he had not saw a counselor?
He saw a counselor, but it was for a class change.
One counselor, correct?
That I have record of in the system yet. We're requesting a class change.
The lady's going to address the board tonight pertaining to that.
Yes, she is a family spokesperson. I believe her fiance is related to the family.
And that brings us to reports. You can come on up. Some instruction when you start. Attorney will be. He'll give you a hand.
Okay. Thank you.
When you start, I will go ahead and just hit the timer, but you want me to give you like a heads up about 2 minutes or 1 minute just so you know where you're at?
Sure.
Okay, I'll just do it 2 minutes.
I appreciate, honestly, I was looking for a giant, scary red clock, so I
won't be that scary.
That's kind of what I'm used to.
Very good.
So, good evening. Just to introduce myself first and foremost, my name is Angela Hubert. I have 4 children that are in the Hawkins County school system. I have a sophomore and a freshman both at Cherokee High. I have a 6th grader at Rogersville Middle, and I have a kindergartner at Morrisburg Elementary. We moved here from Savannah, Georgia a couple of years ago, but I have spent my children's entire educational career in some form of advocacy, whether it was on a school, a local level, a state level, through my efforts with PTAs and working with our school board members. So I really appreciate your consideration in letting me speak for a few minutes. And I understand that y'all have a big job, and it does not go unnoticed. 1 week ago from today, Aiden Trent was buried on his birthday. He was 15 years old. He passed away, took his life the week before that. Since that time, and I do want to recognize Mr. Leonard, is Aiden's grandfather. I'm not sure if there are other family members right behind him. His mom, I see his little sister over there. But it's been a hard time. Honestly, I did not know Aiden. I'm friends with his sister Elizabeth, and I went to the family when I found out about the situation and offered to act as a voice to help the family in whatever area I could help them with. And if being a voice right now is what my position is, then I humbly and happily take on that role. What happened with Aiden is it's a really bad situation. It's a bad situation for everyone that's involved. It affects a wide gamut of people. But we cannot change what has already happened. And that's an unfortunate truth. Having said that, my goal as a parent is to impact the next child. Because unfortunately, this is something that's running rampant right now. I'm sorry, Miss Debbie, I don't know how to say your last name. I don't want to say it. Shedden. You said something a few minutes ago, and you really hit the nail on the head. You were talking about the times have changed. And we as parents and educators, as administration, as faculty, as whoever, we have to change with those times as well. It's very easy for us to get stuck in the mentality of where we were when we were in school, or how it used to be. And if we're not willing to be progressive with the ideas that we have, how we face these new problems, because they're old problems, but they're new problems at the same time. And if we're not proactively progressive about it and meeting these children where they are, more are going to fall through the cracks. There was another young gentleman 5 days after Aiden from Morrisburg. He went to Morristown West, 15 years old. He took his life. So 5 days in Hawkins County, we lost 2. That's too many. And we all know that. It's almost a redundant thing for me to say. My approach has always been with representing is a proactive approach. When we respond to situations reactively, it's too late. So how do we proactively come together and find a solution for how we can invite parents in? I'm not sure if she's here. I have never met her. I believe that there's another parent that is here that is having some issues with, I think, her nephew, and I'm saying I don't know the situation. But there are a lot of people that are impacted by this. These kids are pulling out phones. They're taking videos of it. My goal with my children, and my goal, honestly, with your children, with anyone's child, is to teach them how to have a voice. It's not just teaching them how to have a voice, but it's helping them to carry their load. I'm not raising kids. I am raising future adults, period. But it is my job as a parent to help them carry their burden and to teach them how they can use their community. It takes a village is almost cliche at this point, but if we don't lean on our different people, then we're never going to be successful. When this situation first happened, I went with a couple members from Aiden's family, and we had a meeting at Cherokee with a couple of the assistant principals, with Mr. Floyd, with Mr. Kenner. And I went in with an idea, and then I found out that there's something sort of already established. I have not seen it, but it's another tool for students. I understand that I believe Mr. Floyd and Mr. Hickson were a part of a consultation with this group. That it's an app. But what I like about this program is that there are accountability measures that are in place in there. Do I think it's going to work right off the top, regardless if it's something that we stay with that's already in place, or if we bring a new program in? I think it needs to be touted. Those kids that came in here earlier from Churchill were doing a almost identical, very similar program at Morrisburg Elementary. And one of my goals, one, is to offer myself. If there is a way that we can get parents communicating with each other, one thing that the teacher said, I think her name was Miss Chapman, she pointed at the kids and she said, "This is my why." And I was like, man. And then they started talking about 4 houses, 1 family. Thank you. We have 4 houses within our school system. We have the students, we have the parents, we have our staff, and we have the administration. So it's our responsibility to work together effectively, and I want to help to do that. I want to be a part of a voice that creates a culture. And if there's a tool that we do have, we need to fully integrate it into our system. We need to make it a part of our culture, because if it's a part of our culture that starts with the elementary kids, we're going to make an impact differently, because these kids are going to be on the radar getting the help that they need. It's not just about punishment. It's not just about accolades. Good job, Mackenzie, by the way. We worked together. I didn't know she was going to do it. But it's about establishing what these goals are and making the system work the way that it's supposed to be. And one of those ways that we have to do it, we've got to get parents in the schools. Parents are not in the schools, period. And I say that, and that doesn't mean that, parents have a lot going on. There's a lot going on, but we have to give a different kind of welcome. It needs to be an invitation. So I don't know if I love that there are student representatives here. I didn't know that your board did that. I think that is fantastic and quite appropriate. But I do feel like maybe as a suggestion, if there was a way that we could have maybe a roundtable discussion with parents where it's not a witch hunt. Absolutely, I don't want that. I want, decorum, because we have to be effective in the right way. We cannot be sensationalists about this, but iron sharpens iron, and we cannot lose the opportunity that we have in front of us right now. I want to use Aiden's tragedy as a pivot point. And I don't mean use it like it's an opportunity, but use it as an opportunity to usher something different in. And it takes a discussion in order to accomplish it. And I appreciate your time. Honestly, I thought I only had 3 minutes, so that was pretty cool. But I just really appreciate y'all immensely. I know that there's still information that is being gathered and distributed the right way in regards to this incident, but there has to be accountability. That accountability falls on all of us to find a way to say that next kid. It's imperative, and I really appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
I really do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just got something to say. I've had to go into school a few times. And the only thing I hear is we got rules and regulations. Y'all might need to look at these rules and regulations. And make sure they fit for the age of these kids. That's all I've got to say.
Any other reports?
No, I would like to say, if you would permit me to speak to Ms. Angela's comments. She did bring forth an app that students may be more willing to use because they are in tune with technology. If they have an issue, they're more in tune to click a button and report something that may be troubling them, or a friend of theirs, or a peer of theirs, rather than going to an adult. We've met with 2 of those vendors, Thomas and I and several others on the supervisor team over the last several days. Earlier this week, and then today was another one. We are looking at potentially being able to purchase that and implement it in addition to what we already have, to make it that much more easy for students who are dealing with such issues to bring things forward. One of the issues we struggle with as a school system, and I think those around us are the same, is that these things go unreported and students do not receive help. I would also couple what Ms. Hubert said with saying that it's not only a team of 4, we need to include the family as much as possible. So I did appreciate the comments about her bringing parents to the school. We struggle with parent involvement at some of our schools, particularly as the students get older, but that does not mean the problems go away. In some cases, if unchecked and undealt with, those problems continue to grow and continue to increase, and we wind up in situations like we found ourselves about a week ago. So I do appreciate Ms. Hubert's comments and her proactive approach. We will be working with her, Mr. Floyd and I know Mr. Kenner, and I would fair to say that our other high school principal to start out with will probably be following up with her regarding the app that is chosen and implemented and making sure that that's well communicated as an additional tool to not only students, but to parents and community members who see some of these things occur. So I do appreciate it.
And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna make a comment. If that family that was just here is going through, or any family that has gone through that, I'm just at a loss, as a parent, what that would have to be like. But I do agree wholeheartedly that we've got to get parents more involved. We do, some way, somehow. I do agree with that. Parental engagement. Some way, somehow. We've got to bring people back together some way.